It is earnings season and we are going through them. This morning it is the term of ADNOC Distribution. Athmane Benzerroug is the Chief Strategy and Sustainability Officer, also the acting CFO at the moment. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Glenn. Good morning, everyone.
Let's have a look at your numbers and let's start with the headlines. We've got a record EBITDA for H1. We've got net profit up by about 12%. What are the main drivers behind this? If you were to point to just one or two things, what would they be?
Yes, as you rightly said, we published just this morning very strong results and results that are growing at double digit. And the main drivers are actually all the initiatives that we have put in place to transform our stations into destination of choice. We have been driving more customers to fuel at the pump, strengthening our ADNOC Rewards app application, and bringing more people into our convenience stores, car wash and lube change. And these are the main drivers of the growth.
Okay, let's dig into some of these. You've also had record fuel volumes for the first half of any year. They're up about 5.5%. Is that domestic consumption or is that because of the massive amount of stations that you've opened in Saudi Arabia this half?
The growth is mainly driven by UAE, where we are seeing actually very strong mobility and where we have been adding stations across the UAE. But we have seen also some growth coming from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where we are adding new stations under the CapEx-like DOCO model.
Yes, you have. And that DOCO model means that it's a slightly different ownership model, doesn't it? You've got the dealer-owned company or operated model. What does that mean for the amount of money you actually make from those stations, though?
So what happens is actually that we want to grow in Saudi Arabia, but we want to grow smartly. And it's all about a network game. And therefore, we want to make sure that when we invest the money of our shareholders, we want to make sure that the returns will come quickly and will be high. Therefore, we went through the DOCO model, which is CapEx-like model. We provide to the owners, actually, the brand of ADNOC Distribution. They get an extra margin that we share, and we operate the stations, but we don't put any CapEx. So the owner puts CapEx, and we share actually the extra margin that the station gets because of the brand of ADNOC.
Okay, and that's allowed you to double your station count in Saudi Arabia. You've also revised the target for the amount of stations that you want to open this year as a whole upwards. The majority of those, you say in the earnings, are going to be in Saudi Arabia. What though, and where though, will we see more stations in the UAE?
So when you look at the growth and historical H1 growth that we have published today and above market expectation, the growth of the business is coming mainly from the UAE again, but the number of stations that we are adding actually are mainly coming from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So going forward, we want to expand in Saudi Arabia under the DOCO model. And we have, as you rightly said, upgraded our guidance to 60 to 70 new stations, which means that by the end of the year, we should reach roughly 970 total stations with UAE, KSA and Egypt, which means an 8% growth in our network.
How much room is there still for growth, and I mean physically as well as demand, here in the UAE?
Well, there is plenty room of growth, and this is what we are executing today. And we unveiled our strategy roughly 2 years back, and we said clearly that we want to continue to gain market share. We are the leading company with more than 65% of the stations in the UAE, and what we want to make sure is that we can create the right customer journey and adding new stations, but also upgrading the assets that we have across our network. The UAE market is growing fast, and we are growing actually the fuel business fast actually, but the non-fuel retail business, which is the convenience stores, the car wash, the lube change and the property management, is growing at least at 2 times faster than the fuel. So clearly we are seeing our transactions growing by roughly 10%. And we're seeing clearly that there is a potential in the UAE to grow further.
Yeah, that non-fuel business up nearly 15%. How are you getting more people out of the car and into the convenience stores?
A very good question. Thank you very much. So this is all about customer experience, and this is all about the super app ADNOC rewards that we have with more than 2.2 million rewards customer. I'm sure that you are our customers, and this means that 50% of the UAE drivers actually own actually the ADNOC Distribution app. This app provides actually every time you go to the station with seamless payment, but every time you come to the station, you get rewarded, you collect points. And this is how we have been able to drive this kind of growth, create loyalty, create clearly stickiness with customers, but also upgrading our convenience stores, bringing more F&B in our C-store, more fresh products. Our coffee is really famous, and also upgrading our car wash and lube change facilities.
Okay, quickly, looking at those ADNOC rewards and the growth that you have seen there, 20% roughly growth in the number of people who are using it. Is that the Skywards effect? You tied up with Emirates earlier this year, and there's a miles points exchange.
Yeah, so we are tying up with 120 partners actually, and what we want to do is to improve actually this kind of changing points between companies, because this is what customers also are eager to see. But what we want to do through this app is, more importantly, to create hyper-personalization. And this is where AI comes in, actually. And we want to make sure that every time you come, Brandy, and you grab a cappuccino, for instance, we're going to push a croissant or fruits or whatever. And this is how we can create more satisfaction for the customers and increase actually the basket size of the transactions.
Yeah, I see mention also of your AI assistant that you're using in the boardroom. How much has ADNOC Distribution actually invested in AI?
Well, we have been investing in AI for now more than 2 years, actually. What we have been providing to the market is what will AI bring to ADNOC Distribution, and also ADNOC is very focused on AI like the UAE. So for ADNOC Distribution, this is very clear. We have 20 key projects actually where we are focusing on growth, efficiency, but also customer experience. And this is where we have very concrete programs like fuel demand prediction, smart workforce management, hyper-personalization, as I was mentioning before, but also in the convenience stores, intelligent assortment, and finally AI-powered dashboards actually that help us to take the right decisions for future growth.
Athmane Benzerroug is the Chief Strategy and Sustainability Officer, also the acting CFO at the moment of ADNOC Distribution. Their numbers were out 15, 20 minutes ago. Thank you so much for joining us so quickly.